Have you ever wondered how a show like The Simpsons, you remember The Simpsons, right? From the 1990s, early 2000s, right? Have you ever wondered how a show like that, a cartoon, a funny show, lighthearted show, could so regularly and adequately predict future world events? I kid you not. Now, if you've been around and you've probably heard this before, this is nothing new. I'm not breaking any news here, but The Simpsons have so regularly and adequately predicted future world events that people are baffled by it. I mean, people have come up with all kind of conspiracy theories about, time travel. Maybe the writer is a time traveler, but most folks do not understand how this can occur, but they have done it over and over and over. A good example of this is in the year 2000, I believe. The Simpsons actually had a scene from one of their shows in which they were predicting Donald Trump to announce his candidacy for the presidency of the United States. And this was in the year 2000, 15 years before he made his announcement. But what they showed on the show was exactly how he ended up doing it. Coming down an escalator in Trump Tower, making this prediction, announcing his run for the presidency. That's literally, they predicted it 15 years in advance, exactly how he would do it. And that happened, as you can see right there on the screen. 15 years later, he announced his run for the presidency in the exact same way they predicted in the year 2000. Now, this is just one of many examples. They've done this over and over and over throughout the years, and it's crazy to the point where it's become almost kind of a punchline, like a joke. But the fact is, this has happened. Now, I want you, if you're watching this video, right? This may seem a little bit out there, but I'm going to really bring it back to your life. I really do believe that there's a very powerful explanation to this that's not as far out as you may think. I don't believe in time travelers. I don't think the writer of The Simpsons was a time traveler. Okay, if you believe that, that's totally fine. But I'm going to give you an alternative theory as to what's happening here. And I want to connect it to your life. What if you could predict your future? Yeah, your future in the same way that The Simpsons can predict the future for our collective society or world. Wouldn't that be fascinating if you could learn how to do that? Well, if you watch this video in its entirety, I'm going to show you how to do that. I know that sounds crazy. I'm going to show you how you can do what The Simpsons are doing for your own life. So stay tuned. Welcome back to this channel, just in case it's your first time here. My name is Jamal Javanji. I'm a life coach by profession. I'm the author of the Amazon best-selling book called Living for a Living. I'm also the founder and CEO of a coaching and consulting company called Free to Love Coaching Solutions, LLC. Super happy you're back for this video. And this is a little bit of a different video, but there's something really amazing that we have to talk about today. There's a couple of points I want to make, and I just want to ask you as you're watching this video to keep an open mind. You don't have to believe anything I'm saying here, but just consider the possibilities of what this could mean for your life, okay? So let me just, I know I said, what if you could learn to predict the future, your future, in the same way that The Simpsons have predicted future world events. But I want to just kind of correct that statement a little bit and just kind of let the cat out of the bag really quickly. I don't actually believe that The Simpsons predicted the future. I don't. Now, how do you explain all these crazy events, right? Where they literally showed scenes of future events that hadn't happened years before, right? Years in advance. How did they do that? Well, I don't think they predicted the future. Here's what I think actually is happening. I think they are creating the future. Now, I know that sounds bizarre, right? How can somebody create the future like that with such specificity? And that's what I'm here to talk to you about today, right? I think there's two ways that we can observe from phenomena like the Simpsons. And, I'm just using them as an example, but I could even talk about it from my own life and from other people who have done what is commonly referred to today as manifesting. But how does manifestation happen? How do you create your future? Well, there's really two ways to do it, okay? Now, there's a lot more steps in this, and there's probably some nuance, and we could probably create a whole series of videos, and maybe I will do that if there's enough interest. Maybe I will do a whole series of videos on the mechanics and the specificity and the art of manifestation. But in this video, we're just going to talk about two really, really powerful realities that are going to allow you to create your future in the same way the Simpsons have created the future for all of us, right? In so many ways. I know that sounds crazy, okay? So the first characteristic that I want to tell you about, right, is going to help you create the future is this. First characteristic is this. Creation of the future requires a fuel source. Now, what is that fuel source? That fuel source is your attention. It's your attention. So an easy way to direct attention. So what is attention? Attention is really it's your mind's way of focusing your life force energy, right? In the coaching world, we say this often, where focus goes, energy flows, right? Where focus goes, energy flows. What you focus upon, you feed energy to, right? Everything in existence that exists needs a fuel source to keep it in existence. We know this from quantum mechanics that everything in the physical material universe is actually a vibration of energy. And that energy has to have a fuel source. So in our human existence here, whatever you focus upon, it's like you're feeding it energy. Do you remember when you were a child and you maybe took a magnifying glass, and I used to do this when I was a kid, and we used to have these magnifying glasses, and you could take a magnifying glass and direct sunlight through it until it gets it into a little fine point of light, and you could actually burn holes in like leaves and stuff like that. We would like set things on fire as kids using a magnifying glass, just focusing sunlight on a point, like a piece of paper, and it would burn the paper, right? That's how powerful focus is. So wherever your focus goes, you're actually channeling your life force energy into something, okay? So what does this have to do with The Simpsons? Well, think about it. Think about what The Simpsons are, right? It's a TV show, and in the 1990s and early 2000s, there were millions upon millions of people watching this show. And they're watching this show, and these scenes from the show, right? These little scenes, right? As you're watching the show, it's very powerful because it's directing millions of people's focus, even in a very lighthearted way, which actually, we'll talk about that here in a second. That's actually a very powerful point. But they're directing the focus on a certain event, and they're almost suggesting to your mind the reality of a certain event just from showing you the picture of it. So it's the power of human focus. But that's the first step in creating anything. And we've known this, right, from if you've studied the law of attraction or The Secret, that you have to see it first in your mind to create something. And literally, if you just look at anything that exists, right, think about a house, a car, a chair, anything that exists first existed in the imagination or mind of a human being, who then visualized it first before they created it. So the first step in creation is visualization. So in The Simpsons, right, they're putting out these images of possible futures, right? Possible things that could happen. And millions of people are passively visualizing these events. Second characteristic, a heightened state of being. Now, that state of being could be deep relaxation, right? You can, when the state of being is deeply relaxed and you visualize, it's a very powerful way to create. When your state of being is energized, right? When it's excited, heightened states of desire, heightened states of pleasure, it's also a very powerful way to create. The other state of being in which people can create from is a heightened state of fear as well. So if you're in a heightened state of joy, a heightened state of desire, heightened state of pleasure, or a heightened state of fear and anxiety, both of those will actually powerfully create where the focus is going. Where focus goes, energy flows, and when focus is coupled with heightened states of being, it's a very powerful amplifier of creative energy. Okay? So this is why it's so important. Now, when you create when your focus is on something you don't want and you feel afraid, you feel anxious, you end up creating your fears. You end up creating your fears. But when you're visualizing something from a heightened state of either desire, pleasure, joy, happiness, love, contentment, whatever it may be, or even just entertainment, just in a very heightened state of relaxation, wherever your focus goes during those times, that's a powerful way to also create future events. Now, by the way, if you are listening to this and this is making sense, before we get too far in this video, I just want to encourage you to hit the like button. If you just do that right now, you can just hit the like button and subscribe to the show. It makes a huge difference, okay? Now, I'll tell you where I saw this happen very powerfully. Now, I could give you stories from my own life, but I want to tell you a story about just a very powerful person who I've had the privilege of working with in a life coaching capacity. This is a coaching client of mine. This was, I don't know, maybe coming up on a year now. It's been a little while, but we were attending a wedding of a mutual friend of ours, right? We were at the wedding, and I was having a conversation with my coaching client here, and this was after the wedding, and we were just talking about the event and how beautiful the wedding was and how excited we are for our friend who was getting married, and then I just asked her, and I said, hey, and she wasn't married, and I asked her this question. I said, what kind of wedding do you want? Just kind of assuming she had thought about this and wanted a wedding, and she said, it's not in the cards for me. I said, what do you mean? She's like, I don't really know what kind of wedding I want. And we just had more conversation, but this was such a beautiful wedding we were at. I'm like, oh, have you ever, maybe it could be something like what we saw. And I was just suggesting certain things. And she was, obviously we were both in a heightened state of joy because we had just witnessed a beautiful wedding. In that state, I was asking her a question about her wedding, which she had never really thought about. Actually, she assumed that she would never have a wedding and it wouldn't be in the cards for her. And there were probably a lot of reasons for that. But I said, if you could push a button though and have your dream wedding come true, what would it be for you? And she started thinking about that. And it seemed impossible because from her life and the things that she had concluded early on in her life, it was an impossibility for her. And there was no even prospect guy. There was no guy in the picture. There was no prospect for who she would even marry in the picture when I asked her that question. But she did start thinking about it. Now I'm convinced the moment you start visualizing something that you want from the place of desire in a heightened state, energetic state of being, in a joyful state, maybe you're in a very joyful environment. She was actually traveling in a part of the country that, I think she had never been to. It was a very beautiful, very majestic part of the country. That's where we were at this wedding. And being surrounded by such beautiful scenery, being surrounded by such high energy, high vibrational people, witnessing this beautiful event, she was in a heightened state of being. And when I asked her the question about her own wedding and what it could be like, even though it completely had been something new and foreign to her and something that she actually never even assumed she could have for herself, her dream wedding, just the thought, thinking about it, started the process of creation for her. Now, she didn't know that. She didn't know that. Fast forward a year later to this time now, she's just a few months away from marrying the man of her dreams, having the wedding that she never dreamed possible, and is also in the process of purchasing a home with her fiance, which would be something that she would consider her dream home. All of this came in about a year's time simply because she got a picture of what could be in a heightened state of being. And therefore she created this event. Now, there were other factors involved, right? There was a great guy on the other end who was also a part of this, and he had dreams and visions of his own, and that's fantastic. But I just wanted to share that example with you as this is how powerful. We don't think about it, we take it for granted. Where focus goes, energy flows. And what you visualize from a heightened state of being, you create in your life. That's how it works. If you're listening to this and you agree with this, if this is speaking to you, hit the like button. Please subscribe to the channel. It goes a long way. Okay? But I'm telling you this because this is a powerful way you can create your own life. And I also want to say this as a word of caution, right? Most people, the majority of people that I know, and this is the work that I do as a life coach when I work with people, we teach people how to take back your focus. Most human beings do not have control over their own focus. Other things control their focus. Drama, all the stuff happening around us, the news, perceptions of problems, lack, all these different things that are going on in our world around us. They take our focus, right? Because we have not learned how to actually take control of where our focus goes. So believe it or not, you actually choose what you give attention to. And again, where focus goes, energy flows. So if we're not in control of that process, there are going to be forces in our society, in our culture, that have been designed by people who know how powerful your focus is, right? People who are creating things in this world need an energy source. And guess where that energy is coming from? You and I. They know, there are people who know that. So they know how to create drama and buzz. The whole marketing industry, it's a billion-dollar industry, multi-billion-dollar industry. Why? Because that's how valuable your focus is. People are competing for your focus. Companies compete for your focus. Television shows and movies and series and all these different things. Politicians. There are so many forces out there that are competing for your focus, including governments, and we could go on and on about this. But there are folks who understand how to pull the strings, to push the buttons, and to get you to give them your energy. So my encouragement to all of us today, if you're watching this video, is let's learn how to take back our focus and direct it where we want to go, and actually direct it towards the things we want to create in our future. You can do that. And the first step is learning how to take control of your focus. The second characteristic, right, we need to learn how to take control of is our state of being. If your nervous system is dysregulated and you're in a state of fear and stress and anxiety, you will not have control over where you put your focus. Your focus will be under the control of others who are going to play upon your fears. The things that you don't want to happen, you will focus on them, and those things end up happening because we have energized and created through our focus those things. So it's very important that we learn how to manage, cultivate a high state of being in ourselves, a high frequency, high vibrational state of being. So in my work as a life coach, that's one of the things that we teach people how to do very powerfully. How to take control of your focus, how to manage and cultivate a high inner state of being through nervous system regulation. Folks who do not have a regulated, grounded nervous system have no ability to create their life. That means their life is being created by other patterns and dynamics outside of them. And that's not something we want to do, okay? So we need to learn how to create our future in the same way that the Simpsons have learned how to capitalize and use our focus and energy to create events in the future as well, okay? It's powerful. When you start to think about this, it's crazy, the implications. Most people think the future exists. It does not. We are creating it in real time. What you do right now in this moment with your focus and with your attention and with your state of being is literally creating the next moment, the next day, the next year of your life. And we need to learn how to actually create our life on our terms. Does this make sense? If anything in this video has resonated with you and has spoken to you, I'd love to hear about it. Please put in the comment section. It's a beautiful way for us to have a dialogue. It's also, when you put comments in the comment section, other people also hear it, and it helps the video get out into the algorithm. And so let me encourage you to leave a comment in the comment section, and like the video, subscribe to the channel as well. But definitely want to hear what spoke to you in this, okay? I know this is, and for some of us watching this, this may seem a little woo-woo or out there, but it's just energy. All we're talking about is energy and how to direct energy to create, okay? And tell me what you think about The Simpsons. What's your theory on how they're so adequately and reliably over the years have predicted so many future events? What's your theory on that? For the folks who understand manifestation and how it works, you'll get what I'm talking about in this video, okay? So I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care.